Three, two, one. It's go time, guys. Hey, guys. It's Empireuniverse, and we are here for episode 13. All right. So, guys, I guess I'll start off with. I thought, you know what? I usually wear my Matthews jersey, but I thought he'd change it up a little bit. I thought I'd get a little kind of changed it up a little bit, and I still got the hat and everything, but I am gonna talk about the Leafs. No, don't worry about that. I'm going to. So, I was at the gym, and one of the guys that works there, he's really really nice guy, Levi. He says to me, he's like, "Hey, so next time you do a podcast, man, you got to do one about Sparks." I'm like, "Okay." So I guess I'll get right into it about Sparks. Okay. Because we all know how the Leafs are doing, and I will get to that, but let's get to Sparks. So I'm going to first off, I'm going to say here, so Garrett Sparks, if I met him in the street, I would totally respect him. I'd shake his hand and everything, and I'd love to get his autograph, of course. And I love the Leafs and everything. And I mean, as a guy, I think he's he's a standard Joe. He's probably a good guy, but I mean, he just had a really really good game against who I was about to say the Islanders, but no, God no, not the Islanders. Uh, Buffalo. So it was Buffalo, and I'll use an example right here for Buffalo. So when I say Garrett Sparks is not a good goalie, I don't say, not in general. I think for AHL, he's probably good enough to play for AHL. But I think like for AHL, he's probably pretty good. But that being said, I think for NHL, I don't think he's good enough. And I'll tell you why. So during the Buffalo game, and I watched the whole thing, I'm not just taking from what people told me. So the one goal that he allowed in, it was on their power play. I don't know if the second one was a power play, but I know the first goal that he let in, it was a power play. And it just the way he let it in. I mean, power play goals, they can happen. There's a reason why in hockey it gives you an advantage to score, which it could have happened to Anderson too. But the way he moves his body and how how he allowed the goal in, I find with Anderson is just a good goalie. Yes, he probably had a couple shitty games the last 3 or 4 games. It happens. Every goalie's it's gonna happen, unless if you're Vasilevskiy, if that's how you say his name, from Tampa Bay, who apparently doesn't allow anything in, because that guy is their team is probably gonna win the cup. As much as I'm a Leafs fan, uh, they're probably gonna win the cup. I mean, they're I think what they have 118 points, so they got 18 points over what they need to at least clinch into the playoffs. So I mean, they're just right from the get go. They've been an amazing team, and I mean their goal is amazing. But besides that, going back to Sparks, um, with Sparks though, he seems too uh too, I'm trying to find the word. He's very just plays very he seems like he's not um he seems like he's not steady in that, not inconsistent. He's just very, seems like he's jumping around everywhere, and he's so he doesn't know where, he's so not scared. It's almost spastic. Like he's very like he like the reason why that one goal went in, and I mean rightfully so. It was a power play for the other team, but we're talking about Buffalo, and the fact that the reason why they got it in was because he was I can't he couldn't have been any closer to that blue line, literally. Like a goalie's job, especially when they're on a power play, when you got a 5-on-4, you've got to, or is it 5-on-4? Is it 5-on-4? Yeah, sorry, 5-on-4. You've got to stay in your crease, and not just stay in your crease, but like especially in your corners, you've got to keep your corners tight because that's how a lot of the goals happen. And I mean, Anderson was so wide out of net. The goal was so easy to get in. It was crazy. And oh man, it was a hard goal to watch. And a lot of people, I watched a lot of comments after, and a lot of people are nasty on Facebook. And people are just saying, "Oh, Sparks sucks" and all that. Which I don't want to say he sucks in general. Probably AHL. I haven't watched him in the AHL. He's probably fine in AHL. But in terms of NHL, he's not. He just can't do in the NHL, and that's just how it is. Now I know Dubas or the Leafs in general. They signed him for a year extension. I think that was smart because I don't think that they will have enough money to sign a bigger backup goalie. Because when they had Mac as backup, he was amazing backup. I wouldn't say he was just as good if not, he was maybe just as good as Anderson, probably. But he was not probably just not. He wasn't a starter, but he could start at some games, and he did really really well. He was amazing. But I mean, things happen, and I don't know why they got rid of him. I don't know if it was because of Tavares or with signing everybody. But I don't know. I don't know what happened. But anyway, so we got Sparks. It is what it is, right? Now we know we got him for another year. So prepare yourselves, everyone. But yeah, I think Sparks he's terrible. He's terrible for NHL, and just every time he's on the ice, I remember when Buffalo got that. They had that, or we gave away that puck, and he was got up. That guy could have gotten a goal. I was just cringing in my chair. I was like, Sparks, don't you let that goal in, because if he gets that second one in, we're fucked. We're fucked, buddy. But he didn't, and which is great. And we really, and honestly, in talking about the Leafs now, I think I'm done with Sparks. I mean, bottom line is, this guy sucks. But if I would, yes, I would respect him if I saw him in person. Absolutely. But that's my opinion, and probably opinion of almost every single Leaf fan out there. He sucks. Now, I think he's just not ready for NHL. And I don't know if he ever will be, and that's his bottom line. Okay, I'm done. So with the Leafs, I just don't know what their problem is. And I don't know, like, I get it that, I mean, their defense, I know that their defense is really, really, really bad. And I think the turning point, and I think everyone can agree. I think the turning point was January. And I think everybody kind of saw a bit that turnaround where they started like they weren't, because before I remember watching games where they were winning like 6-7 in a row, no problem, and they were in second place. Actually, they were in first place, but not very long. But they were in second place for a while, and they got there for a reason, because they were winning games like nothing, and their power plays were alive. I'll never forget the game they had against San Jose, and they were at home, and they got like 2 or 3 power play goals. And they put it in the net like it was nothing. And this is San Jose, who's second place, just behind Calgary. That's good stuff. And I gotta say, it was just incredible. I saw this team. I don't get too excited about any other NHL games or teams. But when the Leafs come on, it's just really, really exciting. I still get excited. I mean, no matter how shitty or great they're playing. But when they were just like dominating, like they look like they could be a potential. Like everybody was saying that they're a potential cup team now. Everyone's kind of saying, "Oh no, well we should be concerned about the Leafs." But at the same time, if you look, I mean, it's different because I think they're all talking about their defense, and their defense is garbage. Our defense is garbage. It doesn't help that we have Gardner off, and I know everyone's got to rip Gardner. I get it. And we have Dermott out, and anybody else out? Anyone else out I can think of? I'm not sure. Um, I know everyone is gonna. I know everyone's gonna rip on Gardner, and I know everyone's gonna rip up on Zaitsev, and he's also terrible. I mean, he's terrible for what they're paying him. Dermott's great. I think Dermott's awesome. Now I know somebody named Levi that's not gonna like one defenseman who will not be named because I know who you're talking about, dude. And yeah, I mean Hainsey. To be honest with you, I don't really have a problem with Hainsey. I think I don't know what my buddy's talking about, but I don't really have a problem with him. But I could kind of see it. I could see how some people could have a problem with him potentially. But Gardner, maybe it's the fact that because we have a bunch of guys from AHL that, to be honest with you, not Martian, Marcian. I can't say his last name. Number 52. He's not a very good defenseman, and he should be in AHLs as well. I think that I think the problem is that now you're kind of seeing that was having Gardner and having Gardner and what's the other Dermott. Dermott is great, but like having Gardner on there, was Gardner really that bad? Maybe, but I think that taking him over AHL players any day, yeah. Hull, he has his moments. But I mean, now that we see it, do we really think Gardner was that bad? Yeah, he probably hasn't been playing that well, but he's had some weird injury that I guess the coach was talking about. So maybe that's why he hasn't been playing as well. Because I mean, when you get injured, I mean, you're not the same person, of course, and sometimes that can really do a lot to your career. And maybe that's why he took him off. I really don't know. But I mean, having the AHL players playing in the NHL playoffs is not a good idea. And I really hope that they at least get Dermott back soon. I just saw a thing today about him coming back. He's been he's been at the practices and stuff like that. So hopefully he'll be back soon. He said in about maybe 3 more practices, and he should be good. So that's good. That's good news. But yeah, so their defense, they got to get their shit together with the defense. Okay, so I think the point I was trying to get, I went way off. I started going on about the defensemen, I was going on about Sparks. I'm pretty much talking about the whole freaking team now. Okay, so with the turning point, I think the problem that they had was when they signed Nylander. I think he's played a lot better he's played a lot better since he got back. He's played a lot better since he got signed on the new deal and he started playing. Like, holy shit, a lot better. Like, he's not as many goals as he should be, or not as many goals as he should be getting for sure. But I think overall he's playing a lot better. Maybe by next year he could play, and then next year you could see him. He could be topping up 20 goals. Who really knows? It could happen. But even then, he should be making, he should be making, or he should be producing more goals than that. But 20 goals would be pretty nice. I think he's only got 4 or 5 goals. But that being said, he has been playing a lot better. So signing him was a good idea. I personally don't think so. I'm just saying that he has played better. I don't think it was a good idea. What they should have freaking done was sign someone for the same freaking amount of money, a good, solid defenseman to play with. I mean, they did get Muzzin. They did get Muzzin. And I mean, when I say the defense is terrible, not every single defenseman. I mean, our best defenseman is definitely Muzzin and Riley. 100%. Riley's a great defenseman. But that being said, defenseman doesn't make the whole team, and neither, and not just. It goes both ways. I mean, offense doesn't make the whole team. Defense doesn't make the whole team. The whole team has to play together. I think there's a lot of good rapport on the team. Like, there's good chemistry. But it's just, I don't know. They just have to figure it out. I think once they get their defense down, if they got a really solid defense, if they sign one more nice defense, I think they would be solid. I think 100% they would be a really, really good team. And get another backup. But that being said, Anderson, okay. That's why they've been playing Anderson for most of the season. But Anderson, he's fine. He's been pretty damn good this season. I mean, he's saved your ass more than a few times. So, that's good. I mean, it's great. Do I see them beating the Bruins? You know what? I mean, everyone's saying, well, here we go. They're probably not going to be the Bruins. But I don't know. Like, shit happens. I think that anything can happen in the playoffs. And a lot of people are having all these, like, crazy-ass theories. Like, one guy said, he made a comment. He's like, do you think that this is all part of the coach's plan? Like, this is all part of, I forget his name. I forget the coach's name. This is all part of the coach's plan. Is he doesn't want anybody to get injured, and then they're gonna sweep the Bruins 4-0 in this series. I think that's crazy. That will not happen. The Bruins are a freaking great team, and for some reason they just don't do well against the Bruins. But they do have potential to beat them. They just have to play like they did in Buffalo, because that was like holy shit game. That was a holy shit game. They gave him a SH bomb. They gave him the holy shit bomb. Or HS bomb, sorry. They gave him the holy shit bomb game. That was a holy shit, because they were just, I think they had like at least 50 shots on net. Hutton played amazing for Buffalo. If it was Hutton. I think it was Hutton. And holy cow, just couldn't. They had like a couple of dirty goals because they had to get something in there, because Hutton was just playing amazing. So I think they just have to play like they did with Buffalo, and I think that they have the potential to beat the Bruins. Do they have the potential to beat Tampa Bay? I don't think so, but anything can happen. And if they made it to the Cup, oh my God, that would be awesome. But I mean, I think we need to start off with, let's just get into the playoffs first, because I think they got 93 points. So they got maybe about 7 games left. So they at least have to win 3 of them. At least about 3, maybe. Do they have to win yeah, they got to win at least 3 or 4 of them. At least about 4 of them. Yeah, they would have to at least win about 4 of those games. Do they have the potential to do it? I think so. They're at 93 points, so I think they can do it. But they gotta start winning. They gotta win most of the games. So I mean, even if they don't get to 100, I know that the 100, once you get to 100, guarantees you in the playoffs. They'd be pretty close enough to get in the playoffs. But last year, I remember the Leafs, I think, overall, it's weird. They didn't have the same kind of power team as they did last year. But last year, they did really well getting into the playoffs easier than they have this year. Because this year, they're cutting it really short. There better not be any fuck-ups before the playoffs. Because if not, you might not get in the playoffs, boys. I'm just joking. They will. I don't think there'll be any issue. But anything happens. But I'm pretty sure they're pretty close. They're pretty close up there with the Flames. The Flames will definitely get in. The chances of them not getting in would be like 100. Like there's no way that they're not gonna not get in. Flames, Sharks for sure. Uh, who else? Who else is there? Islanders. Probably even the Penguins that are in third place. They're pretty close. Washington. Oh, who else is there? Well, Bruins obviously in the same division. But yeah, so I think that yeah, I don't think that they wouldn't get into the playoffs now, but it just doesn't look good if they just say fuck it for the rest of the games and they blow it, because then then you kind of, I think anything you do, you kind of carry that behavior, and then what are you gonna do when you get in the playoffs? You're just gonna say, "Oh, forget what we did, boys. We're not gonna do that anymore." You carry that behavior into the playoffs, and you can't do that in the playoffs against the Bruins, especially the Bruins. You can't do that. So enough about the Leafs, okay? Enough of the Leafs. All right, because honestly, I think we're done with the Leafs, and I could be going on and on and on all night with the Leafs. So one thing that I was talking to Buddy Mason about earlier. So he was asking me about like setting yourself to your highest standard, like the best you could be. So like in terms of work and life, and so if you feel like you feel like your highest the highest that you can go in life is you plan on you can make 100K every year for the rest of your life. That's the best that you can be, and you know you can. But these are the things that you have to get there. And I think that's what he was trying to across to me. But he said the thing is, but what if you have family and you have priorities that kind of stand in the way of that? And I was kind of explaining to him about that, and I think it's hard for me to answer that a little bit because I don't have a family. Well, I have a family. But I don't have a wife. I don't have kids. So it's different. Sorry, excuse me. I'm just getting really, really bad dry mouth. So, I think that I think you gotta step back, and if I put myself in someone's shoes who were okay, so say if I was Mason, or if I was anyone like Mason who's married, who has younger children. So say right now I have a job and I work in construction. I make 80K a year, which I don't know if that's really ideal, if that's realistic for construction. But let's say it's about 75K, 80K. Okay. And so I want to eventually make 100K a year, and I want to move out of this house that we've been living in since we got married, and we have the kids. Excuse me. And one day I want to I know that my best ability here is I can make 100K a year at this company, and I know I can get there. And these are the things I have to do to get there. But I have these priorities. I need to make sure I get this kid. I need to make sure I get Billy into through high school into college, and I have to get Sarah through college through high school into college, and I have to get, et cetera, et cetera. Like I have to get this one through school and then through college. So I think that, I think as if I was in that position, I think what you got to do is you got to hold off on that. And it's never a bad thing to hold off on something like that. I don't think so. Because I think you still have a ton of life to get to your dreams and get to your fullest potential. And sometimes when you have things like that, when you have kids and and a wife and things that you have to attend to. Um, I think that those are not. It's not bad to take a step back and say, okay, what is really important to me right now? Like I said, priority. What is more important to me right now? Is it important that I make this 100K that I really want because that's my full potential? Is it important that I get to this company? Because what happens? So, say if you decide to, okay, screw it, I want to get there now because I know that's my full potential. Okay, we know that. But so say you get there and you do all the steps that you get there, so you get in the company. Okay, so you get in the company, and this company says, okay, so you're gonna work. Okay, so this week you're pretty much gonna work you're gonna work 10 to 6. Okay, okay, so you're gonna work 10 to 6. Okay, or 10, let's say 10 to 7. That's a better time. That might be a more difficult time. So they say you're gonna work 10 to 7 every day, Monday to Friday, and you might have to work some weekends because you're the lowest guy on the totem pole. Okay, so that's gonna be your work week every week for the rest of your life until you get a promotion or you get sent to a different division in the building or company, whatever you're doing. But you're making 100K, so you're happy, but your priorities might change. So just your priority now is this new job. So you now have a new priority, but you still have these priorities at home. So you have your wife that you want to make sure that you're paying attention to. You have your kids that you have to might take to soccer or hockey, or that they have ballet, or this one might have ballet, or your wife says, "Hey, I want to go out for dinner sometime this week. We haven't had that time together for a long time." So I think that you have to take a step back and think, okay, so now I'm in this company, and I'm in this company, and everything's great. I'm at my fullest potential. I feel great. It makes me feel great. But then you come home, and now it's 7. Say it takes you 20 minutes to get home. Now it's 20 after 7. And say if you have younger kids, some of these kids are going to go to bed in an hour, maybe half an hour, and you spend how much time with them? And say they go to school every day in the morning, and it's like, okay, great, or sorry, so then they go to school in the morning, so it's like, okay, great, you get to see them in the morning. But the problem with that is that, okay, so they go to school at what's average time, 8:30, or if they're teenagers, they might even leave earlier. So you might, and then say if you want to sleep in because you're tired, you got home at 20 after 7, you're tired, and then you have to get up. You have to get up early. So no matter what, you still have to get up early. So now you're groggy, you're tired, you're irritated maybe, and for example, your kids are trying to talk to you, you're tired, you're half asleep, and you don't get that quality time that you did. And and it sucks, right? So, and then they go off to school, and then your wife says, "Okay, well, honey, I have to go to school. I have to go to work." And then everyone goes off, and then you're come by yourself, and then you go to work, and then you do the same thing. Well, then what happens when you have to work on the weekend? And then come the weekend, oh, well, now I have to work all weekend. Oh, Dad, I want to do this, I want to do this, and I want to do this. Sorry, I have to work this weekend. Now you just lost those weekends that you normally would have had, or even during the week. So say if you had a job before this where, okay, it's not your full potential, and you know that, but it's what works out for your family, and it's what works out for the priorities that are in your life right now. I mean, children will always be your priority, like, obviously, and your wife, obviously, or husband, whoever it is, and they always will be your priority. But at that time, especially when they're young, especially when they're living at home, before you had that time where you had a job that maybe you didn't like, or a job that, it's not your fullest potential, but it was a good job, and you're still making good money. and yeah, you were making good money, but you worked 8 to 4, and you came home and you still got to see your kids in the morning, and you got the whole night off with them, and you got to take your wife out for dinner. You came home early enough, you got to take your wife out for dinner, so you still have that time with your wife. So sometimes the point I'm trying to make is sometimes it's great to just pause for the moment. Yes, your fullest potential is, but maybe sometimes it's good to just take a pause, enjoy what you have right now, and just know that, okay, that's my potential in the future, but right now these are the things I need to focus on, and these are the priorities that I need to focus on, and these are the things that everything's okay right now. I'm living, I'm working, I'm paying the bills, I'm putting bread on the table for the family, and everything's all right. And maybe once it comes that day where the kids are getting much older, or getting much much older, or they're in college, or high school, and they're not as dependent on you. Maybe it comes to that point where, hey, now you can look and say, I have much more potential than working at this construction. Maybe I like to work in that fancy building, or and have my own desk and do this and this and this and this. Maybe now that's my potential. It's always been my potential, but maybe that's my new priority, is to make more of that money, so when my kids go away, I have more of that money to spend and enjoy myself. Well, I guess that's a little selfish, but that's the beauty of it, is you don't have to do it right away. Maybe it might take you 5 to 10 years, but eventually you will get there if you work hard for it. So I think for anybody that ever stuck on that, it's always good to think like that. But anyway, I think that's all for today. I think that's it. That's everything. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this podcast, and tune in for next episode. Later, guys.